Welcome to your reading. For those of you with the choice as an intention to release what is complete and grieve for what was not completed. I choose to do these two readings together, and we have the two cards associated, so I will select different cards for both intentions. Lament, the illumination woman, and Antler, shaman weaver of the forest. These were the cards, if you remember. These two cards I also associated with the chakras, the solar plexus and the heart chakra. Releasing, it's always good. Clearing up our space, our energetical space. Things that maybe we keep on thinking of, not because they were not complete, but because it's a kind of dream we would like to have the chance in another lifetime. Or some people are still hanging on energetically, and that's also good to just say, this is it, let me go, let my energy clear in a way the energetical space. And when it's about grief for what is not complete, then it's very obvious that there are different reasons. If we lost somebody because they died, and there is nothing we can do just to keep the memory, but then we still feel the grief. If there is another way of losing somebody or an experience that we wanted to have and it didn't happen, we can always try to understand the reasons. That doesn't change the fact that we feel the grief. As I said, I choose two cards for both of this situation from the chakra deck, and the card that came for the release part, it's called prayer, and it's, I think, a very beautiful card. In a way, it brings illumination. If we can release things, our light can shine even more. If our energetical body is clearing, and this prayer is the story of an old man sitting on the terrace of his farm, having a lemonade with his grandson. And while doing that, he remembers his dreams of traveling from long ago. And then his father told him just to ask for guidance before he leaves. And then the father died, so of course then he had to stay. He saw it as a sign to stay, and now looking back, he realized that he doesn't regret his choices. So it's in also a kind of gratitude, letting go of that dream of traveling and seeing that it was complete. It just made you realize what is important for you. And for the part about the grief of what is not complete, the card that came, it's called Grief. And it's the story of Penelope. She had a puppy and she was very much attached to the dog, and one day the dog died. It was very painful for her. After a time, friends were trying to understand her grief, but now it happened, just maybe move on, take another pet. They could not really understand why she was still so deeply upset about it. And she just realized that it doesn't matter what other people are saying. For her is just grief, and when she's ready, she will just move on, and that means maybe that she will love again or have another pet. But I like the saying that grief is love without a place to go, and sometimes we choose to do that. So we are entitled to grief. And as I see this release, it's something that brings us joy. And then, of course, it affects our solar plexus. And the grief is something that we don't enjoy, but it's also necessary because it's also a sign of love. It's sign that we have love. We, like we just said, there is no place where this love can go. So we just have both in our life, the joy, the gratitude, the releasing part, and in the same time maybe the grief and the sadness. Even this color, one is darker, one is lighter, we can think that is a shadow and the light, but we are both of them. And I was just reading today that this shadow, when it comes, and maybe sometimes it takes over and we become like dark, but then love is the one that can burn. It's the fire that burns this this shadow, and then we are light again. And now coming back to these two cards, I didn't mention anything about them. They are from a very interesting deck called Weaver's Oracle. It's organized in a way like the horizontal and vertical strings of a loom, where we create a pattern, we create our own cloth. And let's first this one. The cards are organized in tribes, like the vertical strings, and we have 4 tribes. And then across these tribes we have 7 clans of weavers, and these are like the horizontal strings. So this card is from the South Weavers tribe and from the Death clan. It's the clan or midwives of dying and mourning, of hope and the restoration of life. So this is what we actually do by releasing. It's the death of something that is complete, but now it's gone, and then with that we just restore the life and hope. The other card is from the West Weavers, and it's the Loom clan. So it's the clan that really creates the patterns. And the shamans from this group are the ancient sister of this clan, sit around a great life waving worked upon a vast bowl-shaped loom. They wave the spirits of mountain, river, forest, tundra, ocean, and other wild lands of the world. When we create a cloth, we need a kind of pattern, and the patterns, let's say, are created for the first card from 3 important elements: the blessing songs, the echo tree, and the white moon. The blessing songs that move deeply inside, and they create a shape of understanding life. The echo trees is the ancient ritual, and the white moon is the custodian of blessing songs. So I pick up a card for all these 3 elements. So we have the blessing song from the priestess of light, and the card that came, it's called angelic assistance, and that's divine guidance and loving support. So what I understand from this is that we get angelic assistance if we try to release. We can trust that our life is filled with angelic power, and once we ask for assistance and we open our heart, we get the healing love. We were talking about intention, so the intention maybe could be, if we find difficult, or maybe we don't even know what needs to be released, that we ask for this divine guidance. Then for the next element of this pattern, it's the echo tree, and I pick up a card from the Celtic Tree Oracle, a system of divination, and the card is Hazel with the number 9. It can have an importance maybe for a certain month. So the 9 month, and the letter is C, call, so it's going to be July. This energy that are starting now, let's say, or they are already present of this conjunction, they are going to work for a longer period, and the intention that we put here, it's not going to happen in the next 2 days or tomorrow exactly when the conjunction is more strong. It will just happen in time. We are just planting the seeds now. So July, I said here with this number 9, and this card, it's an indication we have the talent to channel creative energy, especially that which allows you to inspire or increase these capacities among others through your work, interest, and pursuit. The Hazel, in fact, allows you to be a catalyst of transformer, working through the prompting of intuition to bring ideas to the surface. We can use the assistance, but also our own intuition to realize what we need to release and what will help us to illuminate our solar plexus. For the next element, that was the white moon, I also look for a card from the, of course, a monology deck, a card of manifestation, and the card that came was the full moon in Virgo. And interesting enough, we already had a full moon in this year in March. So the way I see it, it's now the period of from March maybe to July had something to do. It just think what kind of process started for you in March, and then the invitation to take inspired action, and maybe that's something that helps you to do this release work. I forgive myself for everything. I am doing my best. So that's also important with releasing, to forgive ourselves. And now, if we go to the other intention for with the grief for what is not complete, we already had the grief card, and in the same way like we had for the lament card, we also have the pattern that is created with the shaman weaver of the forest. And that pattern, it's made by the grandfather shrine, that are places of transition, the grandmother shrines that are deep inside ancestral sanctuaries, and the stone ways that link the two shrines together, because they are like memory keepers. And I see this, of course, like the feminine energy, the masculine energy, and then the link between the two of them. But more important, that the granite stones conserve the love that has been poured into the forest shrines by the men and women who have walked this dark ancestral path. Almost romantic. I don't know if you have seen the movie The In Between, it's called, on Netflix. It's a love story, of course. One of the characters, it's not in this reality anymore. Grief, it's hard, but in a way it's also the force. Love never dies, like they say in the movie. It's the thing that helps the one that is grieving now to move on. And for these elements, I pick up 3 cards. The first card for the grandfather shrine was Jewel Within a Teardrop. Appreciation, spiritual and emotional reconnection. A teardrop that, of course, will come with the grief, maybe even more, but that's also see as a jewel. And it means that you experience a strong spiritual and emotional bond with another person, a family member, an animal, or a pet, like in our story. Deeply emotionally time where tears of sadness, in the end, we can hope they will be transformed in tears of joy. Love is truly all around you. Embrace it, cherish it, and honor it. And the affirmation is that I am one with my higher self. I am in touch and in tune with my feelings. I am blessed. I am spiritual connect to those I love. I am love. This can strengthen you, and maybe even to give thanks for the blessing in your life, for the love that you had. And from the grandmother shrine, the card that came out, it's called Loss, Grief, Sadness, Restoration. And we had a 10 and now we have a 20. So from 1 we have 2. The grief is always about 2. There was somebody else involved and now maybe it's only 1. Griefs, sadness, resurrection. So maybe it's a hope or a dream you had. Somebody you love moves away, or a partnership seems like to an end. Realize that everything that we lose, it will be returned to you in a new way or a form. Gaia, the Earth Mother, oversees this whole event. Feel her loving guidance this very moment. She is here for you and will never leave you, for Gaia and you are one eternally. There is no end without a new beginning. And the affirmation is, nothing is missing. Things simply change form. My life is forever transformed to ever greater love. The earth and I are one. I am forever protected and guided by love. Spiritually, there is neither beginning nor end. This was the shaman weaver of forest, and now we have this beautiful story about Earth Mother. And then for the stone ways, there's something in between, like we said, that combines the two elements. We have the card Flame Tree. And now it's a tree. So the one, we had 2, and now we have 30. The flame tree, the start of something new. It's exactly what we said. That, of course, after the loss, after the sadness, appreciation of what we have, then something new will start. And this is the flame tree here. Even the colors are so beautiful. I see a lot of green and red. A creative spark has ignited from deep within your soul, and this will soon develop into a flame through which a new idea will come to you. So this will be the start of something new. You will thank your luck for discovering something that you truly love to be and do. Something new will grow, and then just trust as an affirmation that the creative flame glows within my heart. I am ready to start something new. My heart and mind are open to new possibilities. My dream becomes my reality. I do what I love, and I love what I do. That's indeed valid for both situations. When we manage to release, let go of the energy that we don't need anymore, that will bring a new beginning. Using our own internal flame, using the divine guidance, then we find this inner intuition, the inner strength, and then from the grief and on the gratitude, we just start something new. I hope you can make use of the strong energies that we have. This intention are not necessarily only for now. This is a timeless reading. I think very often we are in situation to have to release something and then start something new with illuminated energy and with maybe a clear heart. Thank you for watching. Welcome back to your reading. For those of you who choose as an intention Healing the Divine Feminine and the card Dreamer of the Primordial Stories. These energies are all about dreaming big, so why not? But at personal level, we are aware of the fact that we need to try to balance the feminine and the masculine, the yin and the yang, and the level of society. We still live in a society with patriarchal rules and patterns that we also have to understand and try to change, and most of all to be aware of them. And even if it's a man or a woman, it's important to get more in contact with our own intuition, with our own magic, with what this divine feminine energy means to each and one of us. For this reading, I am considering this card associated with the throat chakra, because I think women have to speak out and we have to say what we think and not be afraid anymore. Now I'm thinking of the witches that oppressed for so many years just because they had their natural gifts, and it's still maybe not a narrative. If I will say that I'm a witch, it doesn't mean that I will be accepted easily. It also has to do with discovering maybe what songs are in our heart. And for the throat chakra, I pick up a card from the chakra deck, and the card was Quest. I even see it as it fits very well with the card. And it's the legend is about Mrs. Patriot. She was the oldest woman in the town, and she decides that she is ready to set out across the deadly swamp and walk the Navy Trail that no one has dared to walk before. The wise youngster points out that the swamp has vanished and the path she seeks is already before her. Mrs. Patriot sees that her life is not elsewhere, but is in the here and now. As Mrs. Patriot travels home, the Navy Trail stretches out before her. We are in a self-discovery path, but maybe some quests are unnecessary. And now when I say that, I have to think of once I read somewhere a woman commenting that when she drives to France, and a lot of people drive to France or used to before the COVID in summer, and she sees more men driving, and it was a kind of call. She hopes that next year she sees more women driving, and my reaction at that point was, let's see as many women and as many men driving as they like to drive. I wanted to drive to France because I like to drive to France. Or what I want to say is that I hope to live in a world in which I can make any choice I want. Don't have to prove by my choice that I'm on the side of the women or I'm on the side of the men. I think that's what I found as an unnecessary quest. But of course, as long as there is still an issue that there is no equality between women and men, you need to take a stand. But my dream, and especially with these energies, feel free to express them and not being in any way judged by the women that you don't do enough, or by the men that you try to be a man. And then looking at a card of about the dreamer of the primordial stories. These are cards from an interesting deck, Weaver's Oracle, and we are all weavers. We are all creating the pattern of our life and our own clothes. The cards are organized in tribes, so we have 4 tribes. They are like the vertical strings of the loom. And this particular card is from the West Weavers. Tribes are organized in clans, and that will be the horizontal strings that are creating the pattern. And this particular one is from the Blood clan. It's associated with the primordial nature, and they represent the unfolding journey of womanhood that exists for all women across time in the Blood River experience of maid, mother, midwoman, and crown. The weavers in this clan are honored as the forgotten people. In being named, they are already being remembered. Continuing and being aware of our ancestral line that can go very, very far in time. And even if sometimes we feel that the quest is not our quest, maybe it's in our blood, and it's the result of our feminine line. For women especially, I think this is a very strong clan. And for this particular card, we have 3 important elements to create the pattern: the telling stones, the different seeing eyes, and the bear spirit. And for each of these 3, I'm going to select a card from a different deck. And for the telling stones, I thought it's interesting to see a card from the sacred sides, because these stone beings are born from human lips that have been caught as whispers inside the granite rock and stored as molten seams of secret words around the quartz and feldspar. The telling stones stay bedded in their silent earthly tombs, fermenting words as centuries fly by, until the time is ready and the story ripe for telling, at which point they wait with urgency for a fairy woman to pass by. The same with the sacred side, and we have here the Bodh Gaya, if I pronounce it correctly. The stones in the sacred side, we feel like they have stories for us to tell, and they just wait for us to touch them, maybe feel their vibe. And if you are in a position to visit a sacred site and connect maybe with such a telling stone with your third eye, see or feel empathically the story that they have to tell you. The card, Bodh Gaya, it's the representation of a temple in India, a temple dedicated to Buddha where people go to find peace and find enlightenment. And the question is, where do you go for sanctuary, for advice, and to rest in times of need? Do you even know such a place? As you journey on your spiritual path, it will become increasingly important to be able to retreat into your sanctuary from time to time. This may be a place of worship, a room in your own home, or somewhere special in nature. For us, an invitation to create our own altar. I don't know if it's visible. I have here my crystals that I try to keep them in the form of a tree of life. It's just a place where I like the energy. It's part of our quest to discover such a sanctuary. And for the other element of the card, the different seeing eyes, I thought it will be good to pick up a card from the deck dedicated to femininity. And the card that came is the Exile, I think I say it right. And it's about the feelings that we have sometimes, that we are all alone on an island, and like we find prisoner of our own thoughts, prison of our own reality, the reality that we created. We need to learn the lesson of love, maybe the love that Buddha is also here talking about, loving ourselves enough to burn the fears, to free ourselves from any judgments. It is a quest to find ourselves, to find, like this lady here said, that her place is in now and where she is, and also accepted and understanding that if we are somewhere, it is where we belong, and whatever experience we have, they are also there to teach us something about ourselves. So not being in a place of victim. And then the last element, it was the bear spirit. When winter arrives in the form of a bear spirit, whose task is to keep the high hills edged with danger, the great spirit bear absorbs the healing power of the telling stones. So let's see what the bear has to tell us. This time I just choose the card that was from the Animal Wisdom Tarot, that was a bear, and it was the guardian, or it is the guardian of fossils, which is actually the King of Pentacles. And this is very much a very strong, reliable, determined energy. I think it's very appropriated with this quest when we are not victim anymore. We are enjoying life. We are a mixture of fire and earth. We have good instincts. We are supportive. We open our intuition. We follow our intuition. Maybe healing this not only for ourselves but also for our ancestors and for the future generations. I hope you will be able to make use of this special energy today. We can almost feel them, and if we look at the sun, it's amazing, the light. I wish you a peaceful day, and thank you for watching.